Working through the last couple sections, the last couple subtopics of the retiree years or retiree planning. Really, when it comes to the retiree years, figure out what you want to do with your life. Figure out what you want to accomplish, whether it's reading in a library. I'm recording these videos in a library right now, and there's a lot of older people here, and they're just relaxing. They're just having a good time, reading the newspaper, reading books. You got to figure out what you want to do. Do you want to play pickleball? Do you want to go play pickleball tournaments? Do you want to travel the country in your van it's just you and your dog, or you and your spouse in an RV? I see a lot of RVs riding down the road, and the bumper sticker says "Move over, I'm retired." That's kind of the goal of retirement, in my opinion. Is if you've stressed your whole life working away, trying to figure out, pinching pennies and figuring out, do I have enough for retirement? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. There's a lot of people that are living retired that know that they don't have enough for retirement, but they made the conscious decision that they very well might run out, and they're okay with the consequences. That kind of thinking, I like that kind of thinking. I think it's a little ambitious. It might be a little aggressive, but what do they call them? They call them free spirits. You can definitely have a free spirit attitude in retirement, but also do the planning and getting organized. You don't have to do that yourself. You can outsource it to people like me. I'll get you organized. I'll figure out what your income sources are, what kind of portfolio you got. Do you have real estate that you want to come up with some type of hybrid income stream? But this episode, we're going to talk about low income years. And you're probably thinking, hey, I just worked my whole career. Why do I want to suffer through a low income year? And this is more for individuals that are leaving the workforce earlier than age 55, earlier than age 59 and a half, because generally those are going to be the years that you can start accessing your retirement accounts without paying penalties. And there's different rules, different nuances, whether it's 401ks or some other type of accounts. There are definitely benefits of leaving money in 401ks until you hit certain ages, whether it's tax penalties or early withdrawal penalties. We have to figure out where your income sources coming from, and the years that you might not have a higher income because you're pre 59 and a half. Those are excellent planning years to make some financial planning moves. So if you let's just say you leave the workforce around age 50, 51, 52, there's usually a gap in there. There's usually, let's just say, 3, 5, 7 years to where you're not sure what bucket of money you need to take money out of. Maybe you just decide to keep working somewhere else part-time. But those low income years are excellent years for getting tax credits via ACA, the Affordable Care Act subsidies for healthcare insurance. There's also different strategies for taking money out from a 401k without getting hit the penalty. 401ks have different rules than IRAs. So if you show up to a financial advisor's office and they say, hey, you've met with them for 30 minutes and you're just, they say, hey, come on, let's go ahead and move this 401k over. Stop right there. You got to figure out, do you need to move the money? Because if you move it from a 401k to an IRA, you're giving up benefits that you may not have access to certain funds in an efficient manner once the funds are moved out of the 401k. 401ks give you different rules, and so IRAs give you different rules. You got to figure out what the rules are. Those change every couple of years as well, because they're in essence just tax laws, tax changes. But whenever it comes time to figure out what your tax bills are going to be in retirement, if you've saved millions of dollars in your tax-deferred account and you don't have any money in a tax-free account, such as a Roth IRA, Roth 401k, odds are you're probably going to be in a much higher tax bracket in retirement. So these low-income years where you've only got $20, $30, $40,000, you have to figure out, can you fill up your lowest your lowest tax brackets with conversion money? So basically taking money from tax deferred accounts and paying taxes on it while you're in these low income years. It's one of the biggest overlooked financial planning areas that I've come across. And so what happens is, you may come to the table late in the game and you have all your money in the tax deferred accounts, whether it's traditional 401k, don't let these years slip by to where you can proactively figure out how much money you can convert from tax deferred over to tax free and pay very little, if any, taxes on it. That's what you got to figure out. So how are you going to figure it out? You're either going to work with your CPA, your tax planner. It may not be the individual that's doing your tax preparation every year. Sometimes the tax individuals that are doing the preparation, they're not doing proactive planning. I can do some tax planning for you. I can figure out what your tax rates are. I can figure out how much you can convert from traditional to Roth. This is definitely a big area if you're pre-73, pre-72 for required minimum distributions, and those ages change pretty frequently. So that's something that you have to figure out. These low income years are, I call them financial planning gold mines, because don't let these years fly by even though you're out having a good time. If you're in a low income year with a low tax bracket, but you have a lot of money in your tax deferred accounts, go ahead and make a move with them. Figure out how you can do the tax plans, how much you're going to convert. It might be a 5-year strategy, it might be a 7-year strategy, it might be a 10-year strategy, but this is definitely a planning strategy for those that are married and those that want to get money out of tax deferred accounts into tax free accounts. You got to figure out what that looks like for your individual situation. And we'll see you on the next one, and we're going to talk about social